All right, welcome to our presentation on Achilles tendon pain. I'm going to take you guys through some PowerPoint slides, and then I've got some video here at the end that will show you some useful tips as well. More than 230,000 Achilles injuries happen in the U.S. every year. A common cause is overuse, which in turn causes bursitis. Bursitis may ease with activity and return several hours later. This should not be perceived as a sign of recovery. Some of the possible contributing factors to Achilles tendon pain. One is years of activity, and we put running in here as an example. It doesn't necessarily have to be running, but a lot of runners, after years of experience running, can run into some issues. A lot of times what usually happens is an increase in activity with a decrease in recovery that really spurs on the events of Achilles tendon pain. It can also come from a change in your surface. If you've been going from an unpaved surface to a concrete sidewalk or a paved road, sometimes that can contribute. And then another cause is changing your footwear, a reason changing your footwear. If you went with a shoe that maybe fit you right and helped right here correct your pronation, and the new one isn't doing that as well, that can be a problem. So don't buy your shoes on looks. Make sure you're getting some good advice on what shoe works best for the way that your ankle moves through your gait while you're running or walking. Other things that are good to know is that management programs must involve an attempt to correct the predisposing factors that contributed to the initial injury. This presentation isn't for diagnosis. It's just as an awareness or informational campaign for you guys to get some good key tips and things like that. But definitely reach out to professionals that you use to diagnose exactly what's going on. And part of that should include, what got you there in the first place. The injury can take between 3 to 6 months to completely resolve. And some key factors to remember, again, if the pain goes away during physical activity, it can indicate that the problems are getting worse, not better. Poor and worn out footwear is the most common cause of Achilles tendon problems. And be careful not to choose your shoes on looks. Be selective and make sure that they feel good, and make sure you're getting that professional advice to go along with it. Your shoes need to be replaced every 3 to 6 months, depending on how often you work out. I've even heard some podiatrists recommend that you should replace your shoes as frequently as you work out in a week. You should replace them in a year. So if you think about that, that's a lot, actually. I mean, if you're working out 6 times a week, you should replace your shoes 6 times in a year. It might be a little excessive, but the point is replace your shoes frequently to help avoid Achilles tendon problems. And then some good things that you can do to see if you're at risk is a lunge test. So what you're going to do here is you're going to put a measuring tape on the floor. You're going to measure both your left and your right side separately. You're going to have your foot with your heel flat on the ground, and then you're going to kind of lunge forward, bringing your knee towards the wall. You actually want to touch your knee to the wall, and then you're going to measure the distance from your toes to the wall on that measuring tape. When you do your right and your left side, the difference between the two should be less than 10%. If there is a greater than 10% difference right there, you want to work with somebody, with a fitness professional, to help improve that. That can be a good way to see beforehand if you've got a problem that could potentially happen in the future. And if you work on it early, you can deter it, which is exactly what we all want to do. So I've got some video coming up here next, but I also want to give a quick special thanks to Paul Wright, who wrote the article Achilles tendon pain, and give you guys access to his information. This is his website link right here. If you go there, there's a free ebook that you guys can get that has some additional information on some other chronic injuries, and he's got great advice there, so go ahead and check it out. Thanks.
All right, I'm Phil Timmons. I'm here with Jane. We're coming to you today about Achilles injuries, and we're going to go through some exercises for you today to help prevent you from getting injured. But just in case you already do have an injury, we're going to help show you some things to help strengthen and hopefully get you back on the road a lot faster as well.
Okay, as Phil mentioned, my name is Jane Nemeth. I'm actually the National Educator of Spa Services for Lifetime Fitness, and I myself went through an Achilles injury last year as a runner. I actually had an overuse injury, so I have some good tips for you today that I'm going to share with you. First for prevention, and then also for stabilization and joint maintenance later on. A couple of good things that you might want to do in addition to some of the exercises we're going to do today. Look at some of the Lifetime Fitness supplementation to help you heal much faster, prevent injuries as well. Work with our Life Clinic to work with joint mobilization, and our massage therapist to flush out and help healthy muscles. But in addition to that, today Phil is going to show us some of the exercises. The first thing we're going to do is something called an eccentric download of the calf muscle. All right. There's two ways you can do this, and the key thing actually is to have your stabilizing leg flat on here first, step up onto the box, and then slowly drop your heel down and up. So I'm going to have you do that, Phil. One of the things that's really important with this exercise is that you drop the heel past the parallel point here, so that you're actually getting more of a stretch in the Achilles, and then come back up again. So not hold it for too long. You don't want any static stretches going on, but then back down again. Can you feel that stretch through the back of the heel?
Yeah.
Great. If you bend the knee slightly, you're going to get one set of muscles that attach right in the back of the calf here. If you keep the legs straight, you're going to get a second set of muscles that attach into the calf here. So you're going to address both major muscle groups in the back of the leg to prevent that injury and reduce pain. So that's a great stretch to do before or after. The key thing is not to hold it for too long. If you hold it for too long, actually you go into contraction. So you want to make sure that you're moving through this motion. One of the things that I do in the morning, actually, if I get up and I've got heel pain, some people wake up with heel pain, and the first few steps feel like you're breaking glass on the back of your ankle when you've got Achilles problems. I go to the step before I go back down the stairs backwards and hold onto the railing and do that stretch before I start moving in the morning. That's a really good warm-up key exercise for you.
And the most important part here is the motion going down.
Down, the eccentric download, going downwards and not stretching up onto the toes. The toe, actually, if you're toeing off like that, often with Achilles problems, it's hard to do that initially. So the most important thing is the downward movement. Yes, great. Absolutely. Now come on over, let's do another stretch that's similar to that. If you don't have a step at home, and usually you'll find a stairwell, but this is a great thing to use in the club too. It's actually a half foam roller. And what I like about this, a lot of people do the static stretching against the wall, but when they do the static stretch, they're actually overstretching the muscle and they're not going past that level point, that parallel plane. So this one here will allow you to do it and drop your heel down. So if you can just demonstrate that for me, Tim, too. Excellent. So you're almost like walking. There you go. Perfect. And that, again, you can do with a straight leg or a bent knee to get both aspects of the muscle groups. Excellent. That's a great warm-up. It's also a post-workout one. Really good before you actually start a run or spin class, just to get those muscles warmed up and the blood flow to the tendons, because blood flow doesn't go to the tendons very easily. It tends to go more to the muscle. Excellent. Perfect. If you do have pain afterwards, one of the key things that I found helpful was using a foam roller on pretty much a daily basis. I invested in one of these, and you can get them at our pro shops downstairs. Sorry. And these are very, very beneficial because they're on the fitness floor as well, so you don't have to buy one. But every time you're in, you can use this in a different way, and I showed you earlier, so I'm going to have you demonstrate again. Sitting back onto the foam roller will give you a little bit more pressure, and you can hold it into a spot, and you're stretching the front of the foot out at the same time. So that's a nice stretch on the ankles. That's something that we need to work with, because ankle flexion and joint mobilization is also very important with Achilles injuries.
Yeah, that one's nice.
Yeah, you can feel that one, right? Yeah. Very good. So that's an excellent preventative one. Of course, ice and compression are also very good too. So sometimes you might use taping to stabilize the joint. But when we work with stabilization, another exercise that I love to use is the Bosu ball. The Bosu ball is particularly good because it's actually going to work on, you can do one-legged drills or double-legged. So I'm going to have you step on both legs at the same time to start with. And see how you wobble around. You can do this on a wobble board too. You can do it on those little small discs. So we have lots of choices here at Lifetime Fitness. You see that that's going to create some ankle stability for you. So that's really going to help to stabilize and prevent injuries on the off season. But also you can do some of this during the regular season when you're training hard for events too. You can do one-legged exercises or double-legged exercises. I generally start off with the double-legged until you get more comfortable. You can actually do your bicep curls. You can throw the medicine ball. There's lots of many exercises that the personal trainers will have you do, which will strengthen and stabilize you. When you go to the one-legged drill, remember how we did that? Yeah, that's the one. This one's a little bit more tricky, so you need to be right in the center of that Bosu ball. And it's almost about getting into a squat position. There you go, perfect. And then go down to as far down to the ankle as you can. If it's only to the knee to start with, the key thing is that you're not dropping forward too much at the waist, but you're actually going down into a squat position, and that really does stabilize that ankle. Perfect, excellent, nice job. That is a great exercise to do daily for prevention and also for repair and stabilization for the next season coming forward. So I hope you found that very helpful today. and try some of these things. Touch base with one of your personal trainers who can help you get these really down so that you know how to do them properly before you go out and do them by yourself.
Awesome.